Imagine knowing you were going to die, not as a fear, not as a guess, but as a certainty. And instead of running from it, you prepare for it. This is the story of a man who refused to let his killer walk free, even after his death. He wasn't paranoid. At least that's what people around him believed at first. He was quiet, observant, and careful with his words. But over time, something about him began to change. He started noticing things others would ignore. The same car driving past his house more than once. The same unfamiliar face appearing in different places. Small details that didn't feel random anymore. At first, he kept it to himself, but eventually, he began to speak about it. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough for people close to him to notice. If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. Most people didn't take him seriously. It sounded like overthinking, like stress, like something that would pass. But it didn't pass. Instead of going to the police, he did something unusual. He started documenting everything. Names, dates, times, conversations that felt off, encounters that didn't make sense. He paid attention to patterns. He wrote things down carefully, almost like he was building a case. Not against someone else, but for a moment that hadn't happened yet. It was as if he knew he might not be there to explain it later. Then, one day, he disappeared. No warning, no message, no sign of struggle, just gone. Hours later, his body was found. The scene didn't give much away. There were no clear signs of what had happened. No obvious suspect. No direct evidence pointing anywhere. To investigators, it looked like one of those cases that slowly fade into silence. But this one didn't, because someone remembered what he had said. If anything happens to me, check everything. So they did. They went back not just to the scene, but to his life, his room, his belongings, his habits. And that's when they found it. Hidden among his personal items was a collection of notes. Not random thoughts, not scattered ideas, but something structured, intentional, almost like a message waiting to be understood. It wasn't obvious at first, but as they looked closer, patterns started to appear. Certain names repeated. Specific moments were highlighted. Small details connected in ways that didn't seem accidental. It was like he had already started the investigation himself. All the police had to do was follow it. As they traced the information he left behind, a clearer picture began to form. Someone close, someone familiar, someone who had been in his life long enough to go unnoticed. The deeper they looked, the more everything started to align. The notes weren't guesses, they were observations, and every observation narrowed the possibilities, until eventually there was only one person left. The suspect never expected this, because the plan had been simple: silence the victim and let the truth disappear with him. But instead, the opposite happened. The victim had already spoken, through his notes, through his patterns, through the trail he left behind. And when investigators finally confronted the suspect, the weight of the evidence became impossible to ignore. The truth surfaced. What makes this story so disturbing isn't just the crime itself. It's the awareness, the quiet understanding that something was wrong, and the decision to prepare instead of panic. He didn't just live his final days in fear. He used them. He turned himself into evidence, into a witness, into the reason justice was even possible. Most victims never get that chance. Most stories end in silence. But this one didn't, because even after his life ended, his voice remained, in the notes he left behind, in the clues no one was supposed to notice, and in the truth that refused to stay hidden. In the end, he did something almost impossible. He solved his own murder. If you want more stories where reality feels stranger than fiction, subscribe, because some of the darkest truths are the ones people almost never uncover.